Jessica Silverblade is a horrible bad fig, created when one 14-year-old boy was so bored, he attempted to write the worst book ever. Taking inspiration from his writings and drawing from a younger age, as well as other bad figs such as My Immortal, he created the persona of Jessica Smith, the only 9-year-old demented enough to write this shit. This is her story.
Chapter 1 A New Day. Jessica Silverblade walked very slowly into the large, formidable building. She inhaled sharply as she planted her perfect, pale hands with beautiful, bright red nails that were sharpened onto the large, blue metal door, and pushed her way into the spacious hallways of her new school. She was very nervous. She had crystal peepers, like full blue pools of water under a bright, full moon. Her hair was like spun gold, and it shone in the light like spun gold. It was in 2 separate braids, fashioned exquisitely, and held together with 2 bright golden clasps. She was dressed simply, but fashionably. She wore a crimson-red jacket, with a sky-blue tank top underneath, which showed only a hint of cleavage. She wore form-fitting, fancifully decorated blue jeans that hugged her form and showed off her shapely leg. Around her neck was a beautiful pendant, a golden ornament with a crystal, blood-red droplet-shaped crystal in the middle of the metal. She walked slowly down the empty hall. It was her first day in her new school. She had just moved into the sleepy, quiet town of Lorville from the manic, bustling city of Morny, where the skyscrapers were so tall that she couldn't see the top. In this new town, the only people who knew her were her parents, and her dog, and her Grandma Carrie, whom she had moved in with. Grandma was a senile person who rambled on and on about her fantastic and often unrealistic childhood, but despite her old-fashioned nature and rambling speeches, she told the greatest fairy tales, so she was okay. She was looking for her first class. Finally, she found it, and she sheepishly walked in, interrupting the whole class in the process. Several eyes probed her at once.
"Hello!"
said the teacher.
"Take any seat that is empty."
And Jessica took the seat beside a shy-looking girl with wild brunette hair and curious, doe-like eyes and many freckles across her pale face. The girl said shyly. "Hello!" Jessica said, smiling. Class went on for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, the bell rang, and everyone rushed for the door. Once in the hallway, she met up with the shy, brunette girl that she had met in class. The girl said,
"My name is Cassie."
"Hi, Cassie!" Jessica said to Cassie. "My name is Jessica Silverblade, but my friends call me Jessie."
"Go!"
Cassie said back, and they walked to their next class. Several hours passed. Jessica was now sitting in history class, trying to fight off the grips of sleep as she held her head in her palm. She listened to the teacher drone on and on about Shakespeare, and it was incredibly boring. Suddenly, she could feel the cold stare. Somebody was looking at her. She looked up to see the sharp eyes, a deep, storm gray, piercing into her own. The man staring at her was startlingly handsome, with beautiful, long blonde hair, much like her own, and piercing, silver gray eyes that refused to unlock from her own. Although she could feel another, more ferocious eyes, scolding her with her eyes. The man continued to stare at her until the last bell rang, whereupon he rose from his seat and hurried out the door. As soon as Jessica rose, the girl who had been staring at her stood directly in front of her and confronted her. "Hi, you bitch," said the girl. She was very ugly, although obviously the preppy, popular cheerleading type. She had long, greasy black hair and evil green eyes. She wore a very revealing outfit, and although it was obviously against dress code, she got away with it because she was rich. Jessica saw, with disgust, all of the long, greasy armpit and naughty hair hanging out of her underwear. Ew! Jessica thought. "She's ugly! Hi, bitch!" She yelled loudly, making tiny bits of leftover food spray from her fat, ugly mouth. "Why were you flirting with my boyfriend?" she said. Jessica gave her an incredulous look. "I didn't know he was your boyfriend," Jessica said, knowingly. "And besides, we haven't even talked to each other." "Whatever, bitch," she snorted snobbishly. Before Jessica could say anything back, the ugly girl left, leaving Jessica behind.